How's it going, everyone? It's your boy here, and today I want to talk about Taskmaster Volume 2. I think this series is super underrated, and when it comes to Taskmaster, it's my #1 recommended series when it comes to him. Taskmaster Volume 2 was released in November of 2010 and was created by writer Fred Van Lent and Hefte Paulo. Sorry in advance if I'm pronouncing the name wrong, I'm really stupid, but we're moving on. This is only a 4-issue series, making this an extremely quick and awesome read. Also, you don't need to read anything beforehand, making this even better in my book when you want to introduce someone to this series. When it comes to Marvel villains, in the past, they typically did not elaborate on their backgrounds or histories, especially in the case of Taskmaster. Taskmaster originally faced off against the Avengers, using his photographic reflexes as a weapon, making him able to mimic any movement he's ever seen. So, using this ability, he's been a very tough person to fight, and a lot of the times people would hire him to either do their dirty work for them or to train other villains or henchmen, and even in some cases, heroes. In this series for Taskmaster, we finally get an idea of who the Taskmaster is behind the mask and his inner thoughts and memories, or at least what memories he has left. Early on in the series, Taskmaster explains that every time he learns anything new when it comes to his photographic reflexes, that this replaces any memories that doesn't pertain to any sort of skill or movement. And with years of being a mercenary for hire and fighting the Avengers along with other heroes, or even sometimes fighting other villains, he is literally a walking blank slate to the point that he doesn't even know who he is anymore. And with his issues of memory loss, and on top of this, he now has a $1 billion bounty on his head. He would be on the run from the world with an innocent waitress who would also get caught up in this, while every organization out there would be after both of them. So when it comes to the plot, I think a lot happens where I don't want to spoil it for you, especially since the series is so short. Most of the stuff I've given you here is actually from the first issue, and I don't want to spoil anything for you guys. So this series brings a lot to the character of Taskmaster, and I want you guys to enjoy that yourselves. So I'm not going to go any further in this, but from here, I do want to talk about the art, and then we're going to talk about the final segment, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Personally, I think the art is fine. You can tell the artist put a lot of work into it, and I do like that the art, to me, seems simple, but yet very detailed. It had this rough and worn look that I think is very interesting in itself, and it seemed like I was looking into a very cleaned up, like a 90s styled comic. So if you're a fan of how comics were drawn back then, I think you'll really enjoy how the art is here. But now, moving towards the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good, that it's a really great story with lots of character development for the Taskmaster and other characters around him, which is personally my bread and butter when it comes to comics. I love character development. That is my big thing when I read comics. I'm always looking for it. So for them to do that just in 4 issues, fucking awesome. The bad part though for me is that we do see a lot of villain organizations that apparently Taskmaster is trained or who are after him. And I feel like it wasn't really needed because a lot of these organizations we never see again. It'd be one thing if it was just AIM, Hydra, Hand, stuff like that. But we get a lot of weird and kooky organizations. I felt like it was just filler for the series. And finally, the ugliest part to me is that the story is so good, and what we learn is just super amazing about Taskmaster. And every time anyone talks about Taskmaster now, I have to reference this comic, this series. You have to read it. But unfortunately, it never gets brought back up in the comics, at least from what I've seen. And that really sucks. But the way they wrote the whole series, it totally makes sense of why it's not brought up. I really wish I could have seen more after the series, more about just Taskmaster in general, and maybe the situations we see post Taskmaster Volume 2, but we don't, unfortunately. And if you've made it this far, I do want to give you guys a big thanks for watching, and I really do appreciate it. But before I end this video, I hope you guys like and subscribe. I hope I see you guys back here again. You can always join the Discord, we can talk. I'm always in there, hanging out with some friends. Pop on in, we can talk about comics, we can talk about games, whatever. If you guys want to hear a story about how the X-Men and all the mutants in Marvel became the most powerful nation in the world, banding together, and we end up seeing characters team up like Apocalypse and Professor X, go ahead and click here. And if not, I hope to see you guys in the next video. See ya.